Hi everyone, thank you for coming back to my channel. I'm Stephanie if you're new here. So today I'm going to share with you guys how to can up ham. So we got our ham back from having our pigs butchered a couple weeks ago, and I had a lot of that. I think I think it was like 21 hams that we got. I think it was 21 hams or 18 hams, something like that. And I put some in the fridge so that I could can some up and put some on our shelf. So I am going to take you guys out in our pantry. I'm going to share with you guys all the protein that we keep on our shelf. And then we are going to can up some of this ham. So I have the ham ready for me to cut it up in little pieces. And then we are going to can it up. I am going to use my electric canner. That just works so much easier for me. Usually what fits in there, I think it's 5 of them that fit into that electric canner. I could use my bigger one, but then I have to sit by it and wait for it to do all its things, and this is just faster for me. So I don't mind doing a couple batches this way versus using my bigger one. I know that's probably better with timing, but I don't really want to mess around with that right now. I do 10 pounds of hamburger every time that I can up hamburger. So I do 2 pounds of hamburger per jar, and these are the same jars. So this is what we're going to be doing today for this electric canner. We're going to cut up the ham first and get that going, and then I'm going to be heating up our jars, and I don't need to do any of that. So a lot of people would usually put that in their oven and heat up the jars that way, or put them in their dishwasher and put it on the sanitized cycle to get your jars nice and hot. And I'm not going to do that. My canner does all of that. So I have the water in there right now. I'm going to put the jars in, and we're going to set our canner, and then we're going to get our ham going. So I'm going to go over the process with you. I'm going to try to do it as easy as I can. So with the electric canner, once you plug it in, you'll get an option, and you want to be able to push the arrow button that says canning. So I have the highlighted area on the side. We are going to do 90 minutes because we are using quarts. If you're using pints, you're going to do 75 minutes. So you're going to add your jars. It's telling me on the screen in front that I can add my jars now. Sometimes I'll add some water to my jars so they're not floating around in there. But this is just what I'm going to do for right now. So it's going to kind of show up like this, that I'm adding the jars, and you're just going to add them like this. If water gets in them, that's okay. It's not a big deal. I didn't realize though that I only had enough ham for 2 jars. So this is my first time canning ham, but I have canned the hamburger before. So I know now that I could do a couple more hams and just add that 2 jars, and I might end up doing that again. All right, so I added my jars. I'm going to press start. You're going to want to take your weight off the top. I have that sitting off to the side. These are the hams that we got from our pigs that we just brought in a little while ago. So I'm going to be just cutting this up. So I have 2 pieces. I am cutting a lot of the fat off just because I don't want that in my jars. And you can add that to whatever. You can put this back in the freezer if you want, the extra stuff that you cut off, and you can render that down if you want to and use it for cooking. I ended up kind of forgetting that I was doing that. I have so many bags in my freezer right now that I can render, so I really didn't even think to put it in my freezer. But if you don't want to waste it, put it in your freezer. All right, so all I'm going to do right now is just cut up the ham in pieces. It's your preference on how big of pieces you want cut up. So think about if you're going to add this to a soup, you can cut the pieces into smaller sizes if you want. If you're going to just heat it up and have it as a side or a meat for one of your dinners, then you might want to have bigger pieces. So I'm going to go and just cut this up really quick, and then we're going to move on to the next step. All right, so my pressure canner was done with my jars. So putting the ham in cold. So a lot of recipes call for, if you're going to do cold packing, you're going to want cold jars. I'm doing hot jars because I'm going to be adding extra hot water. I'm going to add some hot water to some of these jars, and the only reason why I'm doing this is because I only have 2 jars that are going into the pressure canner, and I don't want them moving around, so I want to be able to add some extra jars in there, and then that'll protect my jars that I'm going to be canning. All right, so I'm going to debubble my jars. All I'm doing is trying to get out the extra bubbles in there, and I ended up having a little extra room to add some more. So I'm going to do this process a couple of times. Every time that you add something, you're going to want to get some of that extra air out. So that's what I'm doing. You need to wipe your jars off with vinegar. Add your lids and your rings to the jars. Okay, so now I'm going to add all my jars into my pressure canner. And once I do that, I'm going to put the cover back on, and then I just press start, and that is how it works for now. You're not going to add your regulator or anything to this yet. All right, with my pressure canner, it will beep when it's ready for me to put the weight on. It says regulator on there, so you're going to want to just do it that way. And now we are going to press the little arrow, and now it's going to cook down the 90 minutes, and that is it. So this is how the ham turned out. It's still kind of bubbling inside. So everything worked out well with this process. I have this pressure canner in my Amazon storefront if you guys are interested in getting one of these. All right, so I'm out in my pantry. I'm going to share everything that I have on the shelf for meat or protein. So we have some ground beef, we have some pulled pork, we have some Spam over here, we have the generic and regular, and then Lauren ended up getting some kind of sausage. So he's got a couple jars there. We have some cooked ham. We have our shelf full of beans. Beans can also be used if you have just regular dry beans too. That's a good thing to have on your shelf for protein. We also have eggs. We store eggs. I'm going to be having a video out with that. And then we have our beef stew. This is just stuff that Lauren wants to have on the shelf for long-term food stuff. We don't use a lot of this beef stew. If we make soup, we kind of make it homemade, but this is just stuff for long-term stuff. So we have chicken in a can. I need to get some more cans actually to fill up this shelf. And we have some corned beef hash that I just got recently. We have some tuna. I do have a little extra area right there that I can fill in more spots. But that's part of having a pantry too, is to be able to just buy as you go. I just did a video, or I'm going to be doing a video on what I got from the store that is going to be added to this pantry, and I share on just little ways that you can get started, or when you go shopping, little things that you can pick up to add to your shelves. So we still have a little area right there that we can add more meat to it, and then up there with our tuna we could add some more, and for the chicken we can add some more. And we also have peanut butter on our shelf. We try to store that also. We will use peanut butter quite a bit though in the house, but that's another good protein source. We also have the emergency buckets up there that also has protein and stuff in there, so that's another good source. Sometimes with milk you could add that as your protein. So this one has 8 grams of protein, so we have that on the shelf. I am going to be getting more of them, but I just have one of them for right now. Lauren just told me about these little meal packs that he got at Walmart, and I want to share them with you because I told him that I was doing a video on protein and adding protein to your pantry. It doesn't even have to be a prepper pantry, but if you just have a regular pantry. So he just shared these with me, and maybe I'll do a separate video on trying them out and seeing how they taste. But for this one has 13 grams of protein. This one has 11, and that breakfast skillet one, that one has 14 grams, and the beef stroganoff with noodles is 11 grams. So this is what it looks like. He said that he found these at Walmart, and he has a whole container here. So we have these little containers that you can store stuff in that, but he has a bunch of these in here. Let me just look on the back here, and let me see. It says open package. remove, discard oxygen absorbers, so that's how they keep them stored longer. Add your water, and then wait 5 minutes, stir again, and release. Let stand an additional 4 minutes. Okay, so that one is for the lasagna. I want to look at the breakfast one because that one sounds pretty good. Right, so this one, the breakfast skillet, start your day right, made with delicious shredded potatoes, scrambled eggs, peppers, onions, pork, and sausage. Breakfast skillet can be enjoyed on a wrap or right out of the pouch. That you can also add to your pantry. Okay, for our hamburger, this is what our hamburger looks like when you pressure can it. So I do 2 pounds of hamburger in our jars. And that is how I store our hamburger. Otherwise, we just freeze it. But I have a couple jars of hamburger, so that one should probably go up there. I did do lasagna in the jar. We haven't tried it yet since I canned it. Another way to have protein on your shelf. As for our canned stuff, I don't really do anything like that in this area. That's mainly in that other pantry. Okay, so that is everything that I wanted to share with you guys today. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys want to go back and watch my other pantry like makeover, we did this one over. I did clean off my other one. Originally, it needed to be adjusted, and I put some labels up a while ago just so the kids knew exactly where everything needed to go, and that way we can kind of keep things in order. We're constantly moving things around. We're constantly trying to figure out more space for us to store our food. We have a lot of fridge and freezers that we store a lot of our food also, but I'm not going to share that in today's video. If you guys want to go back to my fridge and freezer cleanouts, I have it on, and then I also have one where it says why we have 8 freezers. Go back and watch that one, and that one will share all of the food items that we keep in our fridge and freezers. And then for this pantry, this is our prepper pantry. This pantry was mainly just for us to have emergency food. I kind of took it over for videos and stuff, so we kind of rearranged everything. We're constantly putting stuff in here if we take it out. It's one of the things that we agreed on when we knew that we were going to do this. As long as we put things back, I had a hard time with it in the beginning because I would take things out, and then I didn't realize that Lauren had to go back and pick stuff up and put back in here. But now we both do that. So he picks out things that maybe I wouldn't think about. And then for our grocery hauls, I try to pick up 1 or 2 cans, if not more. And then we restock everything in our pantry, in this pantry. We also have another one out in the garage that we store a bunch of can items and stuff. If you guys missed out on some of them videos, go back and watch, and then I share all of that in them videos of all the things that we store over there. If you guys have any ideas that we should put on our shelves, put it down in the comments down below. I would love to know, because we are always looking for ways to add more to our shelf. That is it for today's video. Don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.